Hi, I'm Russ Meads, host of Old Guy Outdoors, and today on beautiful Vancouver Island, British Columbia, we're going foraging. This valley was logged years ago and replanted. All those little white things you can see in the distance have all got small trees growing in them. But what the logging has done has enabled the emergence of so many plants, and this valley is just rich. It's very important when foraging not to become too focused on what you're doing. For instance, it's a good idea to look at things that might be useful later on, such as this serviceberry. Beautiful. In a few weeks, this will be bearing really good berries. Tasty, nutritious, and medicinal. This is just one of the types of willow we have on Vancouver Island. Just a wonderful plant. If you lick the inner bark, it'll actually stop a headache. In fact, it is the inner bark of the willow from where we get aspirin. And here's a crabapple growing through a evergreen. All on its own. The seed was probably dropped by a bird at some point. But in a few weeks, there'll be lovely little crab apples about that big growing on this little tree to make wonderful crab apple jelly or syrup or jam. Again, just nutritious, so good for you. Absolutely natural, no pesticides, completely and utterly as nature had designed. Oh, that's wonderful. Lovely. We'll let that grow and see how it does in a few weeks. Here's a dogwood growing right next to a big leaf maple sapling. The dogwood is British Columbia's provincial flower. Absolutely beautiful. What a lovely plant. The big leaf maple sapling is just coming in. Its leaves will be in some cases 12 inches across. Not a sugar maple, and it would take rather more sap to make sugar than the sugar maples of Quebec. But nevertheless, it has its uses certainly. And it's past budding at the moment, but the buds in early spring can certainly be used for food. Lots of nutrients and vitamins. We're a little past that now, but it's going to be a beautiful shade tree. Every plant has its uses, whether it's for food or medicine or shade or simply bringing pleasure through its beauty. Here's wild strawberry. This valley is full of them, and in a few weeks there'll be good foraging here. This is wild creeping blackberry. It grows vertically, but it also grows along the floor. along the ground. It has sparse, small blackberries on it. You can see them just starting to bud right there. But they are absolutely delicious and far superior to anything you're likely to find on a regular blackberry bush. That said, blackberries are growing here in absolute abundance, and in the summer we'll see just a sea of blackberries down here. Look at them all. Wonderful. But here's what I've come to get today. One of two things anyway. This is red elder. Oh my goodness. Probably one of the strongest smelling flowers in the valley here. Absolutely gorgeous. And I have to say, an immense amount of medicinal uses. In raw form, it's actually poisonous. The stems, the leaves, the flowers, and even the fruit is poisonous. And so you want to get the flowers before it turns into berries. The flowers can be made into wine, champagne, cordial, all kinds of things. They can be hung to dry to make tea. And I've even heard a fella say that you can dip them in tempura batter for a good feed. One of the things about foraging is you always want to leave plenty behind. Try not to take everything, or there'll be nothing left. In this case, I'm just taking enough to make what I need back home, but I'm leaving enough so that the plant can fruit and that there'll be plenty there for next time. Get rid of the bug, and on it goes. Here's a good one. Elder does have a tendency to grow in the same area as blackberry. Oh, and blackberry grows in ditches, and falling in blackberries in ditches can be rather painful. There we go. There's another use for the alder bush. Help me out of the ditch. Oh my goodness. I wish we had smell-o-vision, because you'd be delighted as I am right now. Oh my goodness, that's so good. That's going to make my house smell lovely. There. I reckon I've got enough for what I need. Good couple of pounds in there. And I'm going to take those home, lay them out flat, let them dry a little bit in the sun and the wind. And more importantly, give time and space for the bugs to fly off them, because we don't want those in the house. Here's the other thing I'm after today. The stinging nettle. And they're in abundance. You can cook them up like spinach. You can make tea out of them, beer, pesto, soup. It's almost unlimited, the applications that you can use this protein-rich food for. but it's also medicinal and can be used for a lot of things. In fact, in ancient times and even today, people with arthritis and other inflammatory diseases can thrash themselves with nettles known as eutrophication. And the stings will actually get rid of your inflammation. Amazing. When I'm foraging plants like nettle and elder, always use a paper bag because it tends to stop them from getting all sweaty, whereas plastic would do the opposite. Always turn the top of the bag over. It keeps the bag nice and open if you do that. And when foraging for nettles, don't be a hero, wear a pair of gloves. Makes the whole process a lot more pleasant. And what we're looking for is just the tender tops. You want to get the nettles when they're young and before they start flowering for sure. But just the tender tops is what we're after. I've left it a little late in the year, and as you can see, some of these nettles have actually started to flower, and that's not a good thing. If you eat nettles when they're too mature, the crystals that have formed in the mature plants can actually quite irritate the urinary tract, which is not a good thing. It doesn't cause an infection or anything, but it certainly can be uncomfortable, so I'm told, so I've read. So we're going to pick the youngest, most succulent ones that we can find with no flowers on them. Well, I reckon we've got everything we need for today. We've got a good slack handful of nettles and a really good bunch of red elder flower. Take those back and process them, see what we can come up with. Until next time, I'll see you and God bless.